Welcome to the show. My name's Dr. Sleaze.
Danger Brain.
And this is Video Vagrancy. Now today, we watched a movie that I remember watching when I was a kid. And I actually used to like it when I was a kid. But, honestly, after today, I realized that there was a lot more going on in this movie. And it's a lot darker than I thought it was. And even darker than it's portrayed to be.
And yeah, it doesn't really try to be subliminal about any of it. It's just in your face with all of these very, very, very dark and actually relevant to some of the issues, some current issues that are going on in the United States today, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Namely, mental health.
Mental health, exactly. There's a lot of mental health issues in this movie. So, the movie we watched was Sidekicks. Chuck Norris, starring Chuck Norris. We got actors like Mako, rest in peace. We've got Johnathan Brandis, rest in peace. Beau Bridges, Julia Nickson. I mean, the cast is actually, it's not a bad cast. But you know, they're used in very interesting ways. Oh yeah, I forgot Joe Piscopo, who is every single scene this guy is overacting to the max.
Yeah, this guy's been doing a lot of blow preparation for this movie.
I think he had to have. I mean, there were some scenes where he was looking like bug-eyed. This guy was cracked out throughout the entire production. He had to have been.
His veins were popping out of his neck.
I know, right?
Pretty profusely throughout this.
You know what? And there's one scene where he takes off his shirt in the movie, and he's just like cut up. And I swear, he not only was he probably doing a lot of blow and crack, but he was probably also juicing.
Yeah, he was ripped.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of Joe Piscopo, mostly I'm thinking back on schlocky comedy films, maybe a buddy cop movie here or there, but
yeah,
this is not really any kind of territory I think this individual's ever tread.
Yeah, he's not known for being a martial artist.
No.
He's in this movie. He's pretty much playing he's playing the dojo master or the sensei of basically like the Cobra Kai kind of dojo from Karate Kid. He's the bad guy. He's that asshole dojo sensei he's the boss of the asshole kid that is picking on Ralph Macchio from the Cobra Kai dojo. In fact, this movie does have a lot of parallels with Karate Kid. And so the movie starts out, and we both thought it was very Mortal Kombat-like, the way it started.
Yeah, we were actually watching clips from Mortal Kombat 2 Armageddon before when we were actually trying to figure out
the second one, Annihilation.
Yeah, when we were trying to figure out a movie to watch for this episode, and we took a look at a couple of clips. And honestly, it was just too bad for me to be able to sit through tonight. So we're gonna have to hold off. But
are you kidding? Like Shao Kahn says, it was glorious.
Yeah. So that one is on the back burner. But the opening to this movie was honestly could have been placed in that setting.
Oh, absolutely. It kind of starts out, and it's in this. It looks like it's the outside of like a pagoda, a Japanese pagoda, and there's all these soldiers and Japanese warriors, and it looked like kind of samurai kind of setting, and they're all out there.
Don't forget the pauldrons and the long white hair.
Yes, the main bad guy that was there.
Very flashy looking. Very much could have been a character ripped straight from the video game.
Straight from Mortal Kombat.
It's even cheesier than the game.
Absolutely. It was over the top. It was beautiful. and if this is how the actual movie, like if this was the real setting of the movie, I probably would have enjoyed the movie a lot more. But So these guys are, to be honest, I don't remember exactly what they were doing. They had the girl. They had this girl, Julia Nickson. They had her tied up, and I don't know if they were going to sacrifice her or what. But she's tied up as if they're waiting for King Kong to come and get her.
And you made the joke. You were like, "I could have been Sonya Blade in an alternate reality."
Right? Yeah. She's tied up just like Sonya Blade at the end of Mortal Kombat, except for missing that weird dress she had on.
Yeah. Well, I know the setup actually made me a little bit more excited for the movie. Yeah, the opening fight scenes where Chuck Norris appears. He's in a pure white ninja outfit.
He jumps over the wall of this castle or whatever they're at, you know. Like and he does this, of course, this slow motion front flip over the wall and lands. And okay, now this is, I mentioned when we were watching the movie, what use is a pure blinding white ninja suit? I mean, what use is that? Isn't a ninja supposed to be able to sneak through the shadows and be able to sneak up on people because he can, blend into shadows, and they're supposed to not be seen. That's what a ninja's job is. This guy is in. I mean, if he was any whiter, he would probably blind you and burn your eyeballs out of your forehead. I mean, his ninja costume is ridiculous. He jumps in, and of course, all the enemies start scrambling, coming at him, and the interesting thing is, every single one of them takes turns, one at a time, coming at him. I don't understand this in action movies where they have the one guy, there's 20, 30 different bad guys on screen, and they're all surrounding the good guy, but for some reason they decide to be honorable and go one at a time, giving the hero the chance to kick the living shit out of these guys. Why don't they just jump them? All of them. They would win. I don't care who you are. 50, 60 guys jumping on you. You ain't going to fight back.
Well, they also had the back-to-back kick. You keep in mind that
what did you call that?
Back-to-back.
Those are the back-to-back.
Flapping their feet in the air.
Yeah, the back-to-back.
Uselessly.
I think you call it the circle jerk kick.
Oh, right. Yeah, the back-to-back circle jerk kick.
Oh my god, yeah. These two go back to back, and they're doing these high kicks to all the bad guys that are surrounding them in this circle, and they're kicking them all in the head, but they're spinning around as well. Like, so they're going around in a circle, still back to back kicking.
Oh, it's a classic. It's a classic trope of martial art films.
It is. But it's in this, they just take it to kind of a level that's just so stupid.
Yeah. There's got to be a scientific term. If anybody knows that, let us know.
I got a scientific term for it. Bad writing.
All right.
But what ended up happening here, they end up, of course, they're kicking the shit out of all these guys. And then they take the masks off, these two white ninjas, and one of them is Chuck Norris, and then the other guy takes off his mask, and it's Johnathan Brandis, this high school age blonde kid, and he's like, oh, thanks there, Barry, because the main character's name is Barry. He's like, thanks, Barry, and then Barry's like, Johnathan Brandis is like, oh, yeah, don't you worry, Chuck. Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I'm always going to be there for you, Chuck. And then suddenly it cuts to a classroom, and this kid, Johnathan Brandis, who's Barry, is saying these words. He's saying exactly what he's saying in his what turns out to be his imagination, or a psychotic hallucination.
So Barry is experiencing a psychotic break from reality, and this is the setup for our film. So we learned that the opening fight scene, which would have been awesome had they had kept the concept of these two white-clad ninjas going and wrecking dojos and Mortal Kombat people. We don't get that. We get the harsh reality that it's
all hallucination.
Traumatized PTSD child of the Chuck Norris Wars.
Right.
Child slave
the
soldier
Chuck Norris
of the Chuck
Wars
Norris
we
Wars.
came up with.
So
he's got PTSD from the Chuck Norris Wars. Oh man!
I mean, I don't. They really didn't touch on it. That all you really get from this is characters who are really mean spirited towards him, and his apparent affliction.
Yeah, which is really a serious mental health problem that he's got. I mean, he's having these delusions, these like waking hallucinations,
lucid
dreams, like these lucid hallucinations, where I mean, his entire environment and the people around him vanish, and he's in another place, in another setting entirely, and he's being attacked by ninjas, and Chuck Norris is always there, and these hallucinations happen throughout the movie, random times too, and every time, I mean, I was always wondering, okay, so he's doing all this karate in the hallucination. Is he jumping around the classroom, jump kicking at people, and I mean, does he even know where he's at in real life?
Well, and they make it very obvious from the get-go that his teachers are aware that there's something going on.
Yeah.
He's sitting here probably quoting Missing in Action at least 3 or 4 times a day during these breaks from reality. And they I think their direct quote from the movie is one of the teachers saying he's a slow, helpless nutcase.
Oh yeah. One of the teachers literally says that. So I mean, obviously the word is out about this kid who hallucinates about having adventures with Chuck Norris. And I mean, when he comes out of it in this scene, everybody in the classroom, all of the kids just are cracking up laughing, busting up laughing, and just making fun of him. And this kid he's like coming out of it like he just woke up from a dream. He didn't even realize he's in the classroom.
Apparently he's not sitting there kicking the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. Although that would probably make it more entertaining if he was.
Yeah. That's what I continuously wanted to see happen throughout this film. Like his waking, lucid fantasies were that intense that he wakes up and everyone's just knocked out.
He's just kicked
all
the
over
shit
the
out of everybody.
People's arterial spray flying at the camera.
He grabs a stapler off the teacher's desk and just starts stapling people to the walls.
Well, we don't get any of that, but what we do get is we get to experience firsthand the torment of being mentally ill with a PTSD Chuck Norris War affliction. Exactly.
And honestly, I mean, they seem to tackle this in the movie like, oh well, he's just kind of a nerd. Like they see him as, all the people just kind of see him and treat him like this geeky kid because he has these hallucinations. But what they should be trying to do is get this kid help. Because he is not okay. This kid has got real problems. And I don't know if he at one point had medication or if his father's or his insurance just lapsed and he doesn't have access to the medication anymore, but he needs something. Because this kid is a whack job.
The entirety of this movie is actually it's something to behold. I'll have to say that because throughout the course of this movie, not only are they aware of the fact that he is losing control. By the way, he also has asthma, so we'll touch on that.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that because that they don't let him off the hook for that either.
No, they don't. As if the hallucinations, the random hallucinations, weren't bad enough. He's asthmatic. This kid. So after the scene, his teacher, Julian Nickson, she ends up coming to the conclusion that there's some way that she can help him. She seems to really be the only person in this entire school that really seems to actually think he needs help. Everybody else seems to think he's just a laughingstock. And she ends up getting, I guess, her uncle, who is Mako, and what we've decided is probably a con artist.
A man of questionable moral integrity.
Yeah,
Let's absolutely just go ahead and
serious questionable fucking moral integrity, this guy. But she ends up somehow contacting him, which we never see her contacting him. She figures that, I don't know, maybe getting Barry, Johnathan Brandis, to learn martial arts and to be trained in the martial arts, that's somehow going to help him. As far as I know, it's just going to put more people around him in danger when he finally does start acting during his hallucinations. That's the whole only thing I took away from this film, was absolutely that. I was going to say they just enabled his condition. Right. Well, yeah, this movie's basically telling you that when there are people with mental illness, give them the tools to hurt people. It's fucking ridiculous, man. This whole movie. When I was a kid, I loved this movie, but now that I watch this, I'm just like, oh my god, this movie's so wrong.
Yeah, there must have been who was involved? This was all Norris based. This movie was all Aaron Norris.
It's all Aaron Norris. Yeah, we saw
Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
and
Chuck Norris is the producer, and his brother Aaron Norris is the director. So this was just a big Chuck Norris ego stroke fest. Like you had mentioned in the movie, man. It's like this movie is just stroking that Norris ego up, and that ego is spraying all over the audience through the screen. Yeah. And it's in your face. It's all over the audience's face and lips and mouth, and it's everywhere. It's drowning everybody in the movie theater.
I know. Anybody who's decided to continue on and stay and watch this film is going to be, cleaning it out of their beards and finding bits of it in their ear canal.
3 days later, they're still going to have it behind their ears, hanging out.
We
were talking about we were talking about Chuck Norris and his ego stroking.
Oh, okay, but that's the whole thing. What part of the film were we? Well,
we were.
The whole thing is absolutely.
It's ridiculous. Oh my god. Yeah, it's
lots of spelunking.
So she, Julia Nickson, his teacher, speaks to his dad, and sets up this dinner date thing where I guess Barry is supposed to meet her uncle Mako, and while he's meeting Mako at, I guess, Mako's restaurant, the Frying Dragon.
Yeah.
The
Frying Dragon.
The Frying Dragon. So this dragon that they apparently named this after must have been just covered in LSD.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They took that. He was transplanted from the Neverending Story 2, which also, coincidentally enough, had
Johnathan Brandis.
Brandis. Oh yeah, Frying Dragon indeed.
Oh my god, man. Okay, so they're in this restaurant, and I think this is also just a bit of an excuse because for some reason Julia Nickson has a thing for Beau Bridges, Johnathan Brandis' dad, in this, and so they're having a dinner date thing while Johnathan Brandis and Mako are in the kitchen talking. And by the way, we never actually see. This is something that I remember. I noticed was that we never see when Mako and Johnathan Brandis actually meet. We just suddenly go into the kitchen and they're in the middle of a conversation. It's like they never had their meeting. They never showed their meeting on screen.
Yeah, that was a little bit jarring, but I think they figured nobody was paying attention at this point.
Right? We barely were. We just really felt bad for this kid because he's obviously completely psychotic, and everybody just makes fun of the fucking kid all the time.
This was a portrait of mental illness that was completely smothered out. Those cries for help were completely smothered out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And suffocated under the pillow.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah, and then was kicked in the nuts. And so he's in there. He's in this. He's in the kitchen with Mako, the con artist, and we'll get to why. I mean, there's things that Mako does. There are things that Mako does in this movie that are questionable. They are irresponsible. They're dangerous to this boy's health, and honestly, I think Mako's character should probably be put in prison for the things that he does. But we'll get to that. So he's giving him like this, I don't know, like this sort of a starting interview, like before training, before he starts his training, and he is making fun of Barry. He's calling him Mr. Dumpling. Oh, Mr. Dumpling. Oh, he doesn't fight with his fists. He fights by slamming his face into other people's fists.
So he basically does the drunken master.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
Oh yes, yeah.
He doesn't actually use like punches and kicks. He comes out and bumbles his way through all this biker gang.
Yeah, by the way, this biker gang gets.
I have to wonder how long these biker gang was waiting for service. They were pretty upset. They threw a bottle of whatever
some alcohol
they were drinking. At the door.
Which, by the way, they never show the bikers come in either. We just go back out, and they're suddenly there sitting with
another just straight.
Sitting with Barry's dad. Yeah, straight back.
Some scenario that we weren't introduced.
Yeah.
But so these guys are just chilling. They're making good conversation.
Obviously drunk, but they're not really being rude or anything.
I didn't see anything overtly bad about their actions.
There was the big guy. There was the big guy. Where's the food?
By the way, which exactly?
So hungry. She won't be my friend.
It's a perfect impression of the character, but I recognize the big. I recognize the big dude from some other movie. But anyway.
I've seen him too. I recognize him. I don't know what.
So they're waiting for service, like any good patron does.
Yeah, they're waiting for service.
Nobody comes out to wait on these guys. Yeah. By the way, they're kind of just, if they were questioning these individuals, if they were really concerned, they've kind of left. They kind of left the character. The father. What was the actor's name again?
Bo Bridges.
Bo Bridges.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Bo
Bridges. They left Bo Bridges pretty much out to dry there.
Yeah. They left him out
to ask them and take their orders.
Yeah, they're
I'd be pretty mad.
Yeah,
too.
Julia Nickson had left Bo Bridges and come back into the back, and she had left Bo Bridges out there, and she's back there with Mako and Johnathan Brandis, and they're chatting away, blah 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 blah, and. We don't know how long this conversation goes on for. We don't know how long these bikers have been there. We don't even see them come in. And who knows? Maybe it'd been a half hour, 45 minutes before Mr. Con Artist Mako comes out to even service them. So you know what? I would have thrown a fucking bottle too if I had to wait that long. We're the only ones in the goddamn joint. Where's the service?
So when they eventually do come around, and Mako decides, I'm gonna run my business finally.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my job. But not only is he gonna do his job, so okay,
he brings some random.
Yeah, he puts alcohol. Remember, he puts alcohol. He like splashes it on his face like it's aftershave, and he's like, "Oh no, hold on, I got this," And he goes out there and he's acting like he's all drunk. He's as a waiter, like, "Oh no, hello, how are you doing?" Playing this like he's acting he's acting over the top Chinese, like on purpose, like a drunk Chinese restaurant owner, and he goes out and like you were saying. He's beating these guys up without actually beating them up.
No, I don't really see any blows being dealt. He hits a guy in the side of the arm with a tray. Not very effective.
And
I don't
somehow that makes the guy fall over.
But he basically bubbles his way through and is busting heads the entire time without really doing so much as hip checking and.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's one guy he punches. There's the guy that like is kind of out of it, and he's like, and then Mako's like, "Are you all right?" And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And he's like, smack, punches him right in the face. The guy falls face first into his ice.
All right, well,
that's the only punch he throws, and of course he does it on the mentally handicapped one, or the guy that's so drunk he's mentally handicapped.
Well, this movie, if it wasn't already obvious, has an agenda to target aforemented individuals.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely. It's quite offensive in that regard.
Yeah, not surprised in the slightest there, but where to go with this piece of garbage now? I mean, honestly. So seg into
the next day. I know it's like it must be the next day. That's what I'm assuming it is. You know, he's back at school, and because obviously Mako is going to train him. So he's back at school, and I think this is when we're in the gym. And, of course, Barry, our resident psychopath, is hallucinating once again. And this time, if I remember correctly, it's about... Now, okay, one thing we've noticed that you mentioned, and I haven't seen a lot of Chuck Norris movies in a long time, but you were mentioning that most if not all of these hallucinations he's had, they are all parallel to a real Chuck Norris movie. Like they're like a lot of the costumes and the hair, and all that stuff.
They could have been transplanted straight,
like just transplanted straight from different Chuck Norris movies.
Out of any of them, and yeah, and we'll get more into detail about a few of them specifically, but
this one was I believe the Western. Where they come in and they're at this tavern in the Wild or a saloon. They come walking in, and Joe Piscopo's over there in the corner. Of course, Joe Piscopo's the bad guy now.
Don't forget the mustache.
Oh yes, the mustache. It was amazing. They come up to the bar, and of course, Barry. He orders milk, so everybody in the bar laughs, and then Chuck Norris kind of saunters on out and, does what Chuck Norris does, eyeballs all the bad guys, and they all shut the hell up and sit back down. And he's like, "Bartender, make mine milk too." And the little bartender pours him in these little shot glasses.
Which I might add, best advertisement for milk ever.
Oh yeah, man. There you go. Product placement. So then Joe Piscopo ends up talking some more shit to Barry. Barry goes over there, and this whole situation is just so stupid. He walks up, and it looks like it's going to be this high noon shootout kind of thing where the whole Western draw, but it doesn't get that far because every time that Joe Piscopo tries to draw, Barry slaps him in the face. And he says, I don't even remember exactly what he was saying. He's like, he smacks him once, and he's like, "Oh, that was for nothing." And then Piscopo tries to draw again. Barry slaps him in the face again. He's like, "That was for something."
Yeah,
and then he tries to draw again, and he slaps him again. And
I was totally not understanding what was going on the screen at that point.
I wasn't understanding why Piscopo just didn't fucking gun that little shit down.
Yeah, I mean, and this is also the moment where we realize not only is he his hallucinations encompassing him using martial arts to fight and to extinguish the bad guys, we're learning he's having hallucinations regarding guns and
which made me wonder. Okay, he's already going crazy.
Maybe the start of what could possibly be a very bad situation.
Oh, especially for the school.
Considering the way that they treat him in that school.
Oh yeah.
Man,
I think we were both thinking the same thing. Like, is this the beginning of like planning a school shooting?
Dude.
Is Barry going to be a school shooter?
Well, yeah, but you
I
know
see
they
it
keep it
happening.
slapstick. They keep it slapsticky, not good in a good way, mind you.
No.
Not even close. Not funny. No.
See, it's
good, not good timing.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's slapsticky and it's supposed to be silly, and I think that they were trying to go for like this lighthearted story. But honestly, and when I was a kid, I thought the same thing. But now that I'm watching it now, and I'm looking at this and realizing what's going on. There are so many dark things going on in this movie that everybody is treating like it's slapsticky and silly.
Yeah.
The context of the film is completely wrong, like the way that they handled this. Because this there's a lot of dark subject matter going on, and it's treated as if it's silly. Like, this kid is mentally... He has mental issues, like serious mental issues, and the father just seems to not care so much. He's just, he's kind of a dreamer, whatever. Like, no, your son is obsessed with Chuck Norris, seriously, like stalker level obsession. He has waking lucid dreams where his hallucinations are so real that he thinks he's being attacked by ninjas on a daily basis.
Yeah, they go. I mean, this movie definitely is another example, and we talked about this in the Best of the Best movie that doesn't approach its subject matter in a very tactful way.
No,
I mean, okay, so I don't know what the public's outlook on mental health and stuff was back in the time of this movie. I was pretty young, and it
me
didn't
too.
really affect me at the time. But I think, looking at it now, it's more despicable than...
Yeah.
It's far more despicable and has not aged... time has not been kind to this film.
It hasn't been kind to this movie. I mean, and then we're not just talking about action scenes and stuff like that. Like, it's just... Like I said, maybe it's just because we're looking at it from a different age level than we were when we were kids. Because when I was a kid, I liked this movie. I thought I didn't know any better.
I think all right. So when I use a word like despicable, it's a pretty strong word, but I have to cite a couple of things specifically, and I'm not going to go on too long of a rant, but.
Why, by all means, sir.
If the opening scene wasn't enough to sway you, then you're gonna have a real laugh at this, because getting into the fact that this kid is asthmatic, his mentor trainer is pushing him to run to work.
Oh,
run to school rather.
Mm-hmm.
You walk today, you run tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And he's encouraging
this kid.
He's basically coming up in his own head with a way to cure asthma.
Oh yeah. Which
he's
apparently
doing God's
means,
work, people.
Yeah. Which apparently means run this kid into the ground, and suddenly his asthma will be cured. This kid is very, very asthmatic. Like, he is seriously asthmatic, and
and
Mako is going to make him run it off.
So I wanted to mention that. I thought it was really important because they're not just treating his mental issues with.
Apparently, martial arts. They're trying to treat his mental issues with martial arts. Apparently,
no, I meant they're not like the way they're treating them. As a joke. Mm-hmm. They're treating his physical issues as a complete, laughable, curable, something that that shouldn't affect you.
Oh, right,
yeah,
exactly.
Your asthma,
it's like the asthma.
That's just something you can will away.
Yeah, nobody takes his hallucinations seriously, and they treat his asthma as if it's something you can just walk off. It's like getting kicked in the stomach,
So he gives him some strange chemicals, which later on they apparently the father, Babe Bridges, exclaims there must be a sewage leak
Oh God, yeah. Mr. Lee, which is
up to
Mako,
this point,
yeah, Mr. Lee, which is Mako. He gives Barry this potion, I guess you could call it, a bottle of this liquid, and he tells him, drink this 4 times a day and twice on Sunday. Doesn't tell him what it is, but from what we know is that it smells and tastes awful.
I don't think I'd be accepting strange liquids from Mako's character up to
I
this
wouldn't
point.
either. I would not either.
That's
as
a
far
lot
as
of
I
trust
can
to
tell,
be placed into.
As far as I can fucking tell, Mako is just a crazy old kook that likes to beat up people that are trying to order in his restaurant, and tries to kill young kids with asthma problems by making them run a lot. So, accepting a strange potion that stinks horribly, oh, fuck you, I ain't taking that shit. But he ends up, and then Barry walks off at this point. He takes the potion and he goes and leaves. And Julia Nickson asks Mako, I think she takes a drink of it or smells what's left of the potion on the table, and she's like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And he says, and Mako says, "Oh, don't worry, it won't kill him." Like, what the fuck are you giving this poor kid? He's got enough problems as it is. Now you're gonna fucking poison the shit? Jesus.
Let's find Mako wisdom for you.
Find Mako wisdom. Just one of those other things that why we think he's a con artist.
All right, so I was going into we were getting into more detail about the hallucinations and the different Chuck Norris movie send-ups and everything.
Yes.
My absolute favorite by far of all of these, and I don't know how many are in this.
I would say there's probably 7 or 8, 6, 7.
They're
like that.
they're kind of the highlight, if you can say there's any highlight, which is really
they're the best.
to do.
They're the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, they do. So they do one that's basically ripped from the movie The Hitman, where Chuck Norris's mega mullet makes its cameo appearance.
Oh, that mullet is epic. It is fucking epic.
This segment goes into Crazy Town real quick, though.
Oh my god! Yeah.
So you get your typical scenes. You got your typical gunfight that happens. Nothing real noteworthy. Oh, until Joe Piscopo starts going flipping his shit.
Oh yeah, for no fucking reason at all. For no reason at all. In this scene, he's like some drug lord or something, and all of his guys are doing drug lordy things, and he, for no reason at all, and there's nothing like this in the entire movie, just starts orchestrating a strange, crazy symphony, and is waving his arms around, just going. He goes from over the top to out of this fucking galaxy, and I shit you fucking not, this guy. I think at this point he just went, you know what? Fuck it. He went, like they were like, hey Joe, stop. Hey Joe, that's not in the script. Fuck it.
He
just
had
let him
his
go.
own
He just
mental
went.
episode.
Oh yeah. He just went. This is when he was at the height of the cocaine usage during the show.
Yeah.
Either that or he ran out and then just decided to do this until somebody bought him more. So at the end of this fantasy, because throughout the movie, all of Barry's fantasies end with Chuck Norris getting Julia Nickson. They save the girl, who is always the teacher, Julia Nickson, and Chuck Norris always ends up getting her.
We need to devote more time to the Joe Piscopo scene. I have to cut you off. I'm going back on it.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm looking through 4 pages of notes, and I know for a fact when we were engaged in this scene, our jaws dropped.
Engaged is a good way to say it.
And we're just blink, 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 blink. I am not surprised that there's not a single word of reference to this scene, because we were absolutely
it's unforgettable,
flabbergasted by this fucking performance.
This scene is unforgettable. It's unfucking forgettable. Oh, And not only the scene with Joe Piscopo going nuts and orchestrating an invisible symphony of just psychosis.
I apologize for cutting you off.
No, that's fine.
You were going on a good point, but I'm looking through these notes, not finding any reference to it, and we were really thorough, and we were absolutely trying. I mean, there's so much to work off of on this film, and this scene is I'm never gonna forget.
And this scene it even gets weirder too. Like there's a part in this scene where after once Barry and Chuck show up and they start kicking everybody's ass, Barry pulls out a bazooka and he turns around and fires at Joe Piscopo and his army of goons. And
this thing was loaded with LSD.
Oh my god!
This
bazooka. My fucking god! What happens next is like it's almost like this comedy / weird. I don't know what the hell to call this movie, but it ends up becoming a horror movie for just a moment.
Yeah, it ends up becoming. I mean, we've already established at this point there is a kid who is having his mind is bringing him to weird places, and he's having this very, very vivid fantasies.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that's healthy at all. Now we're getting to the point where it looks like a straight up LSD acid trip.
Oh yeah.
This scene to me is could have been taken out of a drug induced
the story that like a drug-induced psychopath would come up with.
Yeah.
The sort of thing they tell their therapist while they're in, a padded cell.
Exactly. First off,
there's a random midget on the floor shaking, trembling violently.
We get the camera panning upwards towards inevitably one of the freakiest parts of the movie. We'll get into that in a second. We get a midget who's covered in pink vomit. Mm-hmm. We got a dude who's, I think he's hanging on to a ceiling fan.
Yes, hanging on to the ceiling fan.
And we pan up, and
who do we see?
We see the fucking thing on the fucking roof of this movie.
Right. It's Palmer from the Thing.
Ripped straight out of the Thing. Dude is stuck up into the ceiling. Joe Piscopo has literally been attached
to the fucking ceiling
via
Thing style,
horror movie style,
and then drops down and. But this whole little segment here made no fucking sense. Where did the midget come from? I'm curious about that. Where did this midget come from? He was not in the rest of this scene.
I don't remember seeing him. Like I said, dude, that bazooka was loaded with something. Some reality bending material. It wasn't and that
an
shit
explosive.
Seeps into your skin too, man.
Right?
That's theoretically possible. Dude.
Oh yeah, it gets right into the pores.
LSD bazooka.
Absolutely. Right.
Everyone's tripping balls on this scene.
I think this whole movie people were tripping balls.
Yeah, there's no explanation.
Especially Johnathan Brandis.
Yeah.
Oh, and this movie, it does even take a darker turn when you see this and you think,
all right,
Johnathan Brandis killed himself in 2003. Johnathan Brandis hung himself in 2003. That's something we talked about.
Yeah. So I was shocked. I honestly, I made the jokes a couple times. I had not done any research on this movie before we decided to watch it today. But
yeah, I didn't really kill himself. But I didn't know how or why. I don't think really anybody knows why.
And I was so I was making a lot of child actor jokes throughout the film until Dr. Sleaze here made it apparent that this our protagonist had actually and I was making also references to Reverend Phoenix and stuff.
Yeah.
Cut that shit right out because I was actually kind of shocked to hear about it.
Yeah.
This movie is every reason for you to want to commit suicide if you were involved in the production of this film.
This is a pretty screwed up movie.
No offense to whatever happened. It sounded like they obviously had his demons. This film being probably Lucifer himself in that regard. His main reason being
well, because Johnathan Brandis' character, he comes off as this kid with so many fucking problems, and his dad is so inept as a parent. His dad, allows him to stay up all night watching Chuck Norris movies, deepening his obsession with the man. He obviously is not taking him to a hospital to be properly treated for these episodes. We kind of refer to them as like these epileptic fits. Like someone with epilepsy will have a seizure and drop, and it'll happen randomly. Well, that's kind of how his hallucinations happen. There's these random, boom, suddenly he's in it,
This is where my wires got crossed, because in some scenes he's acting them out when we cut back to the real world, and some scenes he's like asleep as though it's like some kind of dream. I'd say I would probably go with that, though. Yeah, he sounds to me a lot like epileptic seizure.
Yeah.
And he's right in Chuck Norris land.
And you know what? I kind of wish that they had shown what it looked like on the outside when he was going through one of these. Like from somebody else's point of view, so that we could actually see how he is reacting to these during these fits that he has. Because we got
ourselves a sequel.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh God.
Well, the thing is that because there's scenes where we get the tail end of the fit, where he's cowering from a ninja who's slicing at him with a sword, or like the very beginning when he's like, "Oh, I'll always be there for you, Chuck," and the whole class is hearing him give this speech to Chuck Norris, who's not really there, and so I was really wanting to see from the outside, watching him, during the middle of one of these fits.
That's what gives puts another layer of disturbing layer to this whole predicament. But the only interesting thing in my mind that could have ever come out of this is if he was actually kicking the shit out of everybody in his general vicinity.
That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see him spin kicking people thinking they were ninjas.
We need a pen script for that. We'll have to do that. But yeah, all right. So let's moving along.
So
it's pretty dark. Yeah, I guess if you watch it with any kind of subjective view, then you can see it. Ridiculously, unintentionally dark.
So at the end of this dream, this hallucination he's having, instead of Julian Nickson being the damsel in distress like it always has been, it's Winnie Cooper. Oh, by the way, that's what we forgot to mention. Johnathan Brandis' love interest in this is Winnie Cooper from The Wonder Years, by the way. So in this dream, she is the damsel in distress. Johnathan Brandis finally gets the girl in the dream, and Chuck Norris is like, "Wait, where's Noreen?" He's like, "Well, this is my dream." God, cringeworthy shit. Ugh.
Yeah.
I wanted to hide under a rock when he said that.
Yeah,
I was embarrassed, and it wasn't even me saying
I wanted to be bludgeoned by a rock after hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So apparently, in this point, he's taking control somewhat of these hallucinations, which doesn't help the fact he's still fucking having them. Yeah,
you forgot to get to the part where they give him nunchucks, where he's giving him the nunchucks.
God. During the training.
That's during. No, that's not in the first segment where he's in the restaurant, but that's a little bit later on.
It's later during his training.
So that's probably right.
So Mr. Lee Mako gives him these nunchucks during his training.
These aren't padded.
These aren't practiced. You can tell these things are fucking hardened steel, polished steel. These are
vicious killing weapon.
Oh God, yeah. These are the kind of things you could crush a man's skull with.
So the first thing he does,
hits himself in the balls, and then
the temple,
and then the temple or the ear or something. And I remember the sound it made, that clunk. Like, oh God, it fucking felt brutal. I could feel that through the TV, man.
Nick was pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
The look on his face told the story.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was getting off on this whole thing.
And I really think that Mako was enjoying every second of this. Like I said, I swear.
He was getting off on this whole thing.
He is a sick con artist. He's just enjoying the torture of this mentally handicapped child.
He had to have been the orchestrator of this kid's entire mental health problem.
It's very possible.
The owner of the Frying Dragon
has been making this kid fry for many years. He's been he's had his father like dripping like LSD in his tea in the morning before they go to school.
Yeah, that's my that's kind of my opinion on what the the actual story was. That's the only way I could enjoy this film, was to look at it.
Or maybe Beau Bridges is just, his character is just so dumb that somebody told him, like some doctor said, hey, you know what? If you give your kid LSD, he'll stop having these these hallucinations. And at one point they weren't that bad, maybe once a month or so. But then he starts just dripping LSD into his fucking milk in the morning, and in the cereal and everything, and they just kept getting worse and worse. So he started putting more and more LSD into him, and they just keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Beau Bridges he's that terrible of a father in this movie.
Oh man,
I can see him doing
neglectful, shameful,
shameful son of a bitch.
There's a scene where he tells Mako explicitly, push him harder.
He's like,
keep in mind this is
an asthmatic kid that hallucinates, and you've got a father who is being told, hey, we're gonna go out jogging, and the father's like, push him hard, Mr. Lee. Okay, so you want this child to die. That's fine. That's fine. He's basically saying, hey, kill my child. I don't care. You know what? I'm tired of this little shit. He's crazy. I pay so much money for him to go to school, for medical, blah, blah, blah. I want this fucker dead. Run him into the ground, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, I think he might have...
Mr. Lee is making money off of killing this child. I guarantee it.
I have to say, I think he might have co-opted the high schoolers to actively target and seek him out as well, because there's a scene where I remember they're... what is he, walking into the dojo? This is probably near the end. Push him over and say, where's your friend now, retard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, everybody expects Chuck Norris to jump out from behind the lockers, to save Barry Wary.
Where's your friend Chucky now, right?
Where's your friend Chucky now, retard? Yeah, he calls him a fucking retard. Well, not very PC, is it? Not these days. People don't use the word retard anymore.
But keep in mind, throughout this whole movie, his special move was to push him over and step on his chest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As though he had been the champion of.
But he also sucker punches him twice from behind. There's a scene in the locker room that you're talking about, and then later on when they're in the gym class, he comes up behind him and sucker punches him again.
So he's sucker punching a kid with asthma.
And
who has narcoleptic hallucination of some sort. Like they didn't give us a medical.
No, there was no medical explanation for what's going on with this kid, except for obviously Chuck Norris stalker syndrome. But Barry's being trained by Mr. Lee, and eventually, he gets into this little headbutting contest there with the football. This football star at the school. I don't know if they never really mention about this guy. If he is the captain of the football team, if he's whatever the fuck is he? They don't ever mention anything about him except that he's just a bully that picks on Barry. And so this guy, challenges Barry. He says, "Hey, there's a karate tournament, if you think you're tough, whatever, come go to this karate tournament. See if you can do as well as I can. Blah, blah,
yeah. He's a karate master as well, so we had to get right into that Karate Kid territory.
Of course, and this is where it starts paralleling Karate Kid, except for it's with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Which
should have been a lot better.
It should have been.
Frankly, it should have been a lot better.
It should have been a lot better.
All right.
Well, let's. I say we just get right to the tournament.
Let's get to the tournament because there's a lot to cover.
Yeah. So we get to the tournament, and first of all, there's only 3 of them they've got on this team. You're supposed to have 4 people on the team. They only have Mr. Lee, Julian Nickson, his teacher, and then Barry himself, and his Bo Bridges' father is not a fighter. He's just a fat guy that's obviously poisoning his son with LSD. So
no, that's Mako. Mako.
Mako's probably selling his father the LSD.
Okay, they have to be in cahoots.
They gotta be in cahoots. This has been planned for a long time.
But I don't think Bo Bridges is. I don't honestly. His character didn't seem to me to be intelligent, or I don't know. I guess he seemed more aloof to me.
He is pretty aloof.
Aloof. I mean, it didn't seem like he was actively, consciously trying to fuck his son's whole world up.
No, I don't think he is. I don't think he is. But I really do think that he is just a negligent father.
Negligent.
He's just completely negligent
and absentee.
Yes.
Definitely.
He's obviously not around much because he wants to get into Julia Nickson's cute little panties.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah.
But, yeah, they got this little silly romance thing going on, which is, not even worth mentioning. It's not very...
I completely forgot about it.
I know. It's not developed very much at all.
I
it's
remember
just kind
her
of
from,
briefly touched upon in a couple of scenes, and it's not even worth talking about.
Yeah, she was from Wayne's World 2?
No. She was in Double Dragon. No, you're thinking of Tia Carrere.
Double Dragon.
She was in Double Dragon, which that could be an episode in itself right there. And she's also in... She was in Babylon 5, and what else did we put down?
Well, I don't know, so I might have been wrong on that one too, actually. So
she was also in...
well, you got them all.
I forgot. There was another one I can't remember. But
I was thinking First Blood Part 2, but that was probably... that could have been Tia Carrere as well.
Oh, it could have been Tia Carrere. I don't know.
Because I'm obviously getting them mixed up.
So. It's been a long time, but it could have been her. But, so anyway, they get up there to the... to this sign-in, the check-in spot, and the guy that is the check-in, the guy at the desk to check in all the fighters, is just, this guy is a goob. I mean, this guy is a fucking goob. Like, you could tell this guy, in the rest of his life, like, for this one day out of the entire year, every year, this guy sits at that desk and has a little bit of power, and the rest of his life, he probably gets, like, fisted.
He is this. Yeah, we're gonna put a picture up
by everybody that is around him. This guy gets probably beat up on.
So here, so we're gonna put a picture up.
He has skateboards shoved sideways up his anus on a daily basis.
He has to be the smuggest man on the planet Earth for being able to check in martial artists for this one day out of his life for this tournament.
God.
And take a look at this man and tell me he's not the smuggest, smile, shit-eating, grin, son of a bitch bastard you've ever seen.
I've known him for less than a minute. I already hate his face.
Yeah. So this
I think he deserves every skateboard that goes up sideways. Every single one of them. So
he gets them too. I'm sure, like you said.
So
he's been getting buttered.
Yeah. On the daily basis. On the daily. But that grip tape must feel great going out there. But so they, he informs them. Yeah, a little Sodom and Gomorrah. So he informs them that there are 3. You only have 3. You need 4 people to make a full team. So you're going to have to get one other. So who just happens to be at the tournament? Chuck Norris.
Old Chucky.
Old Chucky boy happens to be at the tournament.
So, and I mean, The verdict's up whether or not this is an your standard typical Fight Club dual personality thingamabob going on here, or not. The ending leaves a little bit of room.
Oh, we'll get to that. That leaves the opening to interpretation. Yes,
a little bit of interpretation.
We'll get to that. I've never noticed that before since when I was a kid and I used to see this. I never noticed that. But that right there is intriguing. We will get to that. So anyway, they convince Chuck Norris to join the team. Obviously, we know it's going to happen. Once he's there, it's obvious that he's going to join the team. Mm-hmm. And so he sits down next to Barry, who's watching the fight, and then Barry turns to him and realizes he's there, and the look on his face is disturbing. It looks as if Barry is having an accident in his pants. And I'm not talking about poopy.
This was the running joke when I was a kid as well, was that he may have released some fluids, had himself
not
a
living or poopy,
waking wet dream at this point.
Indeed. Barry was a very fulfilled man at that moment.
Oh, God. We were not.
We were not. We were very much disturbed and uncomfortable. That Johnathan Brandis scared me in those moments. And of course, Chuck Norris is sitting there just thinking, "I am a badass. I have the power."
Yeah.
King shit on Turd fucking Island right there, man. Like, yep, this is what every little boy does when he looks at me. This entire movie exists to stoke the fires of Chuck Norris's unimaginably powerful ego.
During one part, they light the bricks on fire to give a little pizzazz. Because it's totally normal to allow for a child's martial arts demonstration
to light them on fire.
To light the bricks on fire.
And that happens when Barry's having trouble breaking the bricks, and so Mr. Lee lights them on fire.
I wish that he had still had covered himself in alcohol at that point, like earlier in the movie, and went up with the bricks.
Well, because lighting bricks on fire when you're having trouble breaking them when they're not on fire, apparently that makes it fucking easier to break them. I don't get the mentality. I honestly think at this point Mr. Lee is probably drinking whatever potion that he gave to Barry.
You took too much. Too much.
You took too much, dude. You took way too much.
Alright, well.
But yeah, man, like, so the demonstrations themselves, this tournament, there's very little one-on-one fighting in this. It's mostly just demonstrations of, like, weapon skills, it's demonstration of like, martial arts katas, and things like that, and the judges judge based on that. And so it's not really... It's not like a Mortal Kombat tournament, and, there are some fights. I mean, really the only fight that I remember seeing is Chuck Norris versus Joe Piscopo. I don't remember seeing any other ones.
I think there's a couple sporadic scenes, like in any of those, like Bloodsport, whatever, where they show.
Oh, really? I didn't catch those.
I'm thinking that there was a couple of foot-to-face moments.
But really the only full-length one we ever saw or anything was Joe Piscopo versus Chuck Norris. And then he's suddenly somebody else in a white ninja outfit, who's fucking rocking it with the nunchucks, man.
Oh yeah,
this guy, whoever this guy was fucking amazing. Like I was blown away by the nunchuck skills. It was was furious and fast, and it was badass.
This dude ripped our balls straight off, clean
off, and then batted them into the sky with his nunchucks.
Oh yeah, I honestly, it was really awesome demonstration.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was fantastic. Whoever that guy was, man, is awesome with nunchucks. That's honestly, you're right. I think that's the best scene in the entire movie is just that hallucination when it's some other guy playing Barry in a ninja costume doing the nunchuck demonstration. It's superb. It's awesome.
Yeah. So the only good scene in the movie.
Well, that's all there really is to say about it. You got to see that scene. It's awesome.
Unfortunately, we got to get back to the rest of this.
But Yeah, unfortunately. Chuck Norris and Joe Piscopo have their duel, because Joe Piscopo, obviously, he's also got an inflated ego of himself, but nobody's ego is greater than Chuck Norris's.
Absolutely not.
As Joe Piscopo puts it, Chuck Norris!
And the amount of effort Piscopo puts into his
character, his over-the-top
character.
everything. Over-the-top everything. Joe Piscopo's character should just be called Over-the-Top.
Yeah. But Chuck Norris doesn't need any of that, of course.
No.
So he's and this fight scene is pretty lousy, honestly.
It's pretty terrible.
I'm pretty sure we called out one part in particular where Chuck Norris just spins with both of his arms out and does for Chuck Norris standards pretty weak.
It's pretty low,
set of kicks.
And I noticed in the fights there's a lot of use of slow motion.
And not good.
Not
even
motion.
Good use of slow motion.
No.
I'm pretty sure this is probably the cheapest way to do a slow motion effect that they chose to use.
It's bad, yeah.
And so all it really ends up doing in the long run is highlighting that the fight scenes were not very well done.
No, they were not.
Yeah, so Diablo 2 Barbarian Whirlwind Attack.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Chuck Norris
does a Diablo 2 Barbarian Whirlwind Attack.
And then afterwards we see another slow motion scene.
And then he does the jump kick heard around the world.
Heard around the world. Joe Piscopo's face for the... He
can't
go a split second without doing something just with his face.
Oh God, yeah, he does this like ooh kind of look, deer in the headlights.
Expressive.
His eyeballs are popping out of his head, and here comes Chuck Norris's kick, and it knocks. And this is what we were talking about, how Chuck Norris is able to break the laws of physics. This kick sends Joe Piscopo flying head over heels. And I think he does 3 or 4 full backflips, his whole body. He flies probably a good 30 feet back, flipping all the way, and then landing down on his face.
You didn't know Chuck Norris has his own set of law of physics, man.
Oh yes,
so,
our laws of physics do not matter to this man. He completely creates his own.
We really did lack a lot of the meme jokes. We meant to get into...
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we were talking about...
We did mean to get a lot of... But there's a lot to cover in this movie.
There's so much, yeah.
Honestly, I didn't feel like playing up Chuck Norris's ego anymore.
Which is already so... It's so played up in this movie as it is.
We decided to really not do that, go that route.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. So the full flips, he does 3 full back flips.
At least 3.
And we get to see the what happens after that.
Well, after that, that's once Chuck Norris wins against Joe Piscopo, that's when Barry and the bully, I forget what the kid's name is. It's like Cellini or something.
All right, okay.
They that's when they do the brick break, the final brick break, and of course Barry wins, because Mr. Lee Mako lights his bricks on fire, and he breaks through them. Surprisingly, he doesn't go into another hallucination, and then at the very end, they go outside in triumph, and Barry is sitting on this bench, this park bench outside the martial arts arena, and he's having this final conversation with Chuck Norris, and And Chuck Norris it's like this inspirational hoopla, where Chuck Norris is telling him, oh, you've always had the ability, you've always had it in you, Barry, and then Barry, this is where it gets weird. Barry walks away while Chuck Norris is still sitting on the bench, turns around, he has his back to him for a second, and Chuck Norris is gone. Like that, poof, he's gone. So, we started wondering, now, was it all just another hallucination? Was Chuck Norris really there?
Was he the Tyler Durden of...
Was he the Tyler Durden of Sidekicks?
Of
Barry's complete and total psycho break insanity. This kid.
It's really not that interesting, people.
It's
I really
not.
wish we could put that kind of spin on it.
Oh yeah. And then
frankly,
he leaves the black belt book on the thing on the seat, and then some kid in a wheelchair comes by, finds it, and is like, "Oh wow, cool!" And it's like, "Oh no, the cycle begins again."
So honestly, you could probably say this is a horror movie, and that magazine holds the power to instill like, your entire thoughts and dreams and hopes.
It makes you hallucinate. It makes you hallucinate Chuck Norris.
It makes you hallucinate Chuck Norris. It's like The Ring.
It's like basically. The box from Hellraiser.
It is.
You open that black belt magazine and you summon hallucinations of Chuck Norris and obsession, tireless obsession.
Well, one thing's for sure: this movie was truly horrific, and
it was. I can't believe I liked it when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's one of these movies that I loved anything Chuck Norris related, and I really ate this one up. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to have a imaginary friend who's
an action star?
Ass kicker such as Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah,
you don't get any better than that. This movie doesn't make anything worthwhile of that. And it's a steaming tire fire of molten shit.
It is a wretched pile of cow dung that has been dipped in like the blood of demons and porn stars. Porn stars with several STDs covered in cornstarch? Yeah.
Go with that.
I'll go with that.
Anyways, our time here is finished.
Yeah.
I can't go on. The level of depth that we went into.
We were going to go a lot more deeper with this, but honestly, this movie
was enough. This was enough depth to go into.
This film has
gone well over an hour here.
Yeah, this film has honestly. It has the depths of depravity that it goes to, and it's while always being slapsticky and pretending to be like inspirational. There's dark themes going on, and there's a lot of fucked up shit happening, and it is just dealt with in the weirdest way. It's dealt with as if the things that are going on aren't fucked up.
Yeah,
and they are.
Everybody in this film seems so just straight up like alien.
Yeah,
it's just,
everybody at school are fucking total. Everybody's a shithead. Everybody's terrible. Terrible people.
Everybody is abhorrent in this. Yeah, I mean, you just have to see it to believe it. It's like it's a shit case showing of exploitation of someone's mental illness.
Yeah, that's the entire movie. Absolutely, the entire fucking movie, and whether the ending is. Whether all of that was just bullshit or not, like a hallucination or not, and if it is, that's even more fucked up, because that means these people were just pandering to his hallucinations.
Yeah.
Either that or none of it happened, and he's just hallucinating everything. The whole movie was a fucking hallucination.
Well, yeah, so, and I do this a lot. My conjuring up. The real subliminal reason behind what's happening in this individual's life. But I just was thinking, man, maybe that scene. And there's a scene. I don't know if we covered. Did we cover the scene, the Western hallucination that he has? Mm-hmm. There's a scene where he turns around. Joe Piscopo straight up throws a bottle right at his head.
Oh, we didn't get that part. Yeah.
All right, so we didn't cover that one. But at the end of that whole hallucination thing.
The bottle hits him.
He's throwing a ball straight at. He turns around, and all we get is a black scene.
And then he gets hit in the face with a ball from in his gym class.
Wakes up.
Yeah, he wakes
up.
Well,
I'm thinking maybe put that at the beginning of the movie, and this whole thing is his comatose, deranged.
He gets knocked out with the ball.
Near death dream state.
Yeah,
that he was in. But anyways, that's giving this too much credit.
It is really giving this too much. Yeah. It's getting deeper than it fucking can be or should be. But anyway,
Call it a night.
we've
this
this movie, yeah, it was not what I remembered it to be. It was a terrible movie, and it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's gonna scar my psyche.
Well, we'll get therapy for this one too. We're already in therapy for Best of the Best 3.
I'm not hopeful, man.
We may as well get deep into therapy with this too.
Yeah, after seeing this kid's trauma and his, squandered life
existence.
Style. Yeah, his squandered existence. And diminishing of his.
You heard it here, folks. Chuck Norris ruins people's lives. Chuck Norris ruins the lives of children.
Smothered out screams for help that he endured. I'm not hopeful that I'm going to be able to get any treatment.
Oh, no.
But I don't know. Maybe as soon as I mention this to a doctor, they'll get me fast tracked.
But then again, this might actually get this might actually get the attention of Chuck Norris, and then we both might start hallucinating.
Oh no. Oh man.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about putting this up. But whatever, fuck it. It'll make life interesting. And hey, I've always wanted to be in one of those padded rooms. All right, well, let's end this here. So, hey, thanks for listening, and next week we're going to have another episode ready to go.
This is probably our officially first episode. We had a rough cut of
the last episode.
Our Best of the Best 3, which was a lot of fun to do. But
it was a lot of fun to do, but we also just kind of sat down and did it. We didn't really take any notes. We didn't really have any structure to it. We didn't really do anything like that, and we didn't have a title for the show. This is, you're right. This is pretty much a more official first episode. The last episode was more of like an introduction, I guess. But yeah, next week we'll have another episode. We haven't quite decided on the movie yet, but it'll be a good one or a terrible one.
It's definitely going to be good to make fun of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we'll make sure that we choose something that's as bad, if not worse, than Sidekicks. I know it's a tall order, but we are VHS trash mongrels.
Absolutely.
And scoundrels and scavengers, and we know we go through the worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst is where we exist.
So we go from the best of the best to the worst of the worst, and back again. So. And
maybe next week we might have a guest host. Hopefully, if not next week, then the week after. Hopefully.
You're gonna have a lot of trouble trying to corral somebody to fucking watch one of these.
Well, I plan on kidnapping them. It just depends on if I can kidnap them.
Don't forget your LSD bazooka, bro.
I've got the LSD bazooka, man. It's in the garage. I'm going to be loading it up this week. But anyway, hey, thank you for listening, guys. We'll be seeing you again next week with another film. And my name is Dr. Sleaze. And this is Video Vagrancy. Good night and good luck.